Hello again. Welcome back to Void Signal. I'm Brian Prime, the host of this mess. Joining me for this episode is Reverend John from Das Bunker. For the last 30 years, Das Bunker has been one of the defining names in industrial and alternative nightlife, building events that bring together live music, DJs, artists, and a community that's continued to evolve over 3 decades. John and I talk about what it takes to keep something like that alive for so long, from the less glamorous realities of promotion, marketing, and logistics, to the creative side of building nights that people actually remember. We also get into how the scene has changed since the 90s, whether social media has helped or hurt subculture, where industrial music is headed next, and why storytelling matters just as much as the lineup. If you'd like to learn more about Das Bunker, please visit dasbunker.org. My gratitude to Processor for crafting Void Signal's theme song, with a special remix for this episode by Matt Hart. You can find more Processor and Matt Hart anywhere music lives, or visit processor2.bandcamp.com or matthart.bandcamp.com. 2 T's for Matt, 1 T for Hart, spelled H-A-R-T. Thank you so much to Matt and Johan. As always, I'll remind you that Void Signal is an ad-free experience made for the enjoyment of human beings. It is people-powered, and you can help power it by visiting voidsignal.net or patreon.com/voidsignal and slipping me some dollars. It goes a long way to helping keep the signal strong. Thank you for your consideration. Okay, our time is at an end. Here's my conversation with John. You'll hear from me again soon. Stay safe. Stay loud, and goodbye forever. The thing I wanted to pick your brain about is that Das Bunker is celebrating 30 years, a very long time to be a club night and to be a club. Can you tell me a little bit about how you feel about it in its current state? I know that a lot of club nights are having to contend with these big corporate club nights that travel around and stuff like that. Is that a thing that you see being an issue, or what are your thoughts?
The corporate club thing is interesting because we encounter it, but not. I feel that what we do, like what Das Bunker is and the community it caters to, is potentially immune from that, but mainly because there's not an audience. Those corporate club nights tend to focus on like B and C markets, and I don't see it being something that could be successful in those places, honestly, because what we do is our whole idea is that we merge multiple parts of the community and the scenes together. So we have different rooms that focus on different styles. When you put everything into a big party, it's like almost like a multi-course meal of a nightclub. And so I don't see other places have tried to do similar things, and it just doesn't really work without the size of the community that I don't think exists in the places where the corporate club nights go. But they would definitely knock us off if they could. And unfortunately, no, I wouldn't say unfortunately, they're not terrible people that do the corporate club nights, but I just feel that they're like, not all of them are completely dialed into the communities where those touring clubs reach into. And I honestly do feel that they do a bit of a service, like bringing entertainment to markets that might not have access to stuff like that's slightly alternative nights. If I was living I don't want to focus on thinking about some of the places I've seen some of the nights, like towns in Oklahoma or places or Arkansas that these tours go. I would be really stoked if one of them came to my town, because it would be something to do that's outside of my normal scope, and they already have their logistics figured out. So I think that it would be fun for those people that live in those markets, but I don't know if I'd necessarily want to participate in it.
Gotcha. And just what are some of the challenges facing the operation of Das Bunker on the day-to-day? What are some things you're having to contend with?
Day to day is not right now. We just wrapped a big event this past weekend. So now I'm just in the girl who does our recap video just literally walked out the door as soon as I logged into this. So that's going to publish as soon as we're done with this. And just stuff like that. And getting back to trying to reply to all the social media content, obviously sending out paychecks to people is important and settlements and reposting all the content. And the social media stuff's a lot. And also, it doesn't feel like there was a whole lot of break between promotion cycles because it's starting Mondays back into promoting our next event, which is coming up pretty quickly, which is part of that's a symptom of the time of year. Starting in March, things just ramp up really quickly and there's so many things to do. And we either have to compete with those things or sit it out, which is neither. I don't really want to do either of those. It's Sophie's choice a lot of times. So I try and put together something that I think is notable and interesting for people and let them, hopefully they tend to do well. It should be okay.
Sure. And after doing this for so long and DOS Bunker's existence for 30 years, how long have you personally been involved?
I got involved in 2003, which would have been like started in 96 and then it closed in 2000 and then we relaunched it in 2003.
Gotcha. Okay. So quite some time.
Yeah.
What still excites you about doing it? What keeps you going?
My favorite thing is curating the events, matching the artists up to make a cohesive night. And you want something I like when people come to it and are like, hey, this is not like anything else that I ever go to or that I've ever been to. And like when people come from out of town for something, or even LA people are like, hey, we make an effort to come to these events because they're not like anything else we go to. I want it to feel like an event. Hey, this is something special. Everything that's happening has been like the DJs and the photo booth and the live performances and when we have merch vendors, those things are all I put a lot of effort into choosing the people that make a cohesive event that fits together, but it's not always the same thing. So it almost feels making a cocktail or cooking where you're matching flavors that are not the same, but they go well together.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And is there a lot of difficulty and or pressure with running it in LA, or do you feel the pressure of your own reputation?
I wouldn't say the pressure of my own reputation. The biggest thing with LA is I had somebody else that's involved with events describe it recently is it feels like everything is playing whatever your favorite video game is on hard mode all the time. And it's gotten that way. It's probably been that way since post-pandemic. It just feels you have to be like super successful or it's not considered a success at all. The stakes are always so high. The budgets are so high. If it's not, we're always trying to push to get attendance numbers and online attention. And it's all these metrics that I would rather not pay attention to, honestly. I would say that's the stuff I don't really enjoy. I like crafting the narrative and telling the stories behind the things, but I don't necessarily like selling it.
Sure. That's fair. Yeah, that's my least favorite part of anything in this scene is the promoting and going on social media aspect of it.
Yeah, the meta business back end makes me want to tear my eyes out.
Yeah, agree. So where do you foresee DOS Bunker going in the next couple of years? Continuing, I presume?
In a perfect world, we would probably just focus on a couple big events a year and be able to focus on those full time, put all of the maximum effort on those. But it's just different. That's a lot of just lining up the artist tour schedules and things like that. It's just a lot of strategic stuff in advance. For example, we're doing a party in May specifically because Dasik is coming and it's the end of their work visa period. And so it's when they have to play. So we're doing the party that day because that's when we have to do it. And it's not necessarily when our ideal schedule would line up. So I don't foresee those issues going away, but I would like to just be able to dial in and do 2 or 3 big events a year and not have to really stress to trying to sell it last second and hey, there's low tickets. You should come out tonight. Well, that's not
sure
why I got into this or what I enjoy.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. I assume that as it has grown and reached the point that it's at now, I'm going to use the word infrastructure, but have you gone through the motions of sharing this thing so that it is not just falling on the shoulders of 1 to 2 people, but a team?
There is a team that handles different things. Our production manager is very skilled and all of our techs are pretty skilled, and that helps a lot, honestly, just knowing that I can hand off all the hey, here's the DJ's needs, here's the band's needs, here's the visual content, knowing that it'll get sorted we wouldn't exist if that still wasn't in place. And I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. And so, yeah, as far as the booking and marketing stuff goes, That still falls on me a lot. And I would love if somebody could come along that could fully understand our voice and our vision and would help out with that. But I don't foresee that happening. It's just, I think the soul of the four people who contribute to that is what the party is. And if we stepped away from it or passed that off to people, it wouldn't have the same resonation with the audience. And so I don't see us being able to put out a template or a blueprint and having somebody else fill in those spaces.
Gotcha. So torch is not being passed as of yet.
No.
Okay. All right. Good to know. What advice would you give to anybody starting out now of trying to build a thing that lasts?
Honestly, my main advice would be to not do it. I think it's easier to enjoy things than it is to coordinate and put them together. But if somebody was insistent on it, my advice would be to go work for somebody else, go work for a nightclub, go work for a venue, go work for a promoter and learn every aspect that you can, which is that's what I did myself. And it's very helpful knowing that I can do every job at the club that isn't tech related. So I can't work lights or work sound, but I could do all the other stuff. Like if I had to check IDs, like I at one point had a guard card, so it wouldn't be hard to get another one and get certified to be able to check IDs. I had a bartending license at one point. Like I have a marketing background, and these are all a lot of the core stuff that's involved with it. I know a lot about crowd control and like logistics of getting people inside buildings quickly. And those are all the things that they're not exciting when you talk about like working nightlife, but it's because everyone wants to be a DJ or be a band. But those are the things that are important for the success a lot of times.
Gotcha. Okay. So maybe focus more on the logistical sort of aspect of it.
Oh yeah. If you don't know how to do most of the behind the scenes thing, you're probably in the wrong business.
Okay. All right. Noted. As somebody who's started a night myself and don't really know these things, that's okay.
Know how your fire marshal capacity is calculated, the square footage stuff, and what things will reduce that. You can't set things in walkways, and it's a lot of stuff that you don't realize until you actually get in the middle of it.
Sure. And what, aside from all the tedious, laborious background stuff, what are your favorite parts of doing it?
My favorite is, I think I mentioned earlier that I like what was the word? When you put the event together and choose who's going to play with who and the lineups and the art direction of the flyer and building the lineups and crafting the narrative behind the event. Every time we have an event, I try and have a storyline that it fits into. Our last one was sci-fi leaning, and so we paired the band Covenant, who have a long history in that world. They essentially started as a Blade Runner tribute band, and they've been around for 40 years, so they're not that anymore, and they've moved well beyond that, but that's a lot of their stuff kind of still sticks with those storylines and those themes. And we paired that with a sci-fi EBM band from Kansas City that are up and coming, and so it was musically they weren't the same, visually they weren't the same, but thematically we had the same themes running through the night. And then crafting the artwork, we kind of lean into those themes, and it just helps you tell the story.
Right. Sure.
And people like things that have stories, and so a good event will have a storyline that it goes along. I don't really think that the community needs another just open the doors goth night. I think what sets us apart is that there's a narrative, a thematic narrative that we work with along that. And it's more fun to put those things together that way. It's more fun to craft social media. If you're going to have to do everybody has to do social media posts. But when you're putting those things together, when you're like crafting a promo video or putting together the flyer graphics or things like that, it's for the visuals for the night. It's helpful to be able to lean into something like that. And that's what I enjoy.
Gotcha. Okay. You did mention you used the words up and coming in regards to an artist, and this is a music podcast. So are there artists or sounds or trends that you have maybe noticed recently or have grabbed your attention in the past few years that you think are worth mentioning or worth showcasing?
I think that dance music's going to make a comeback in the underground community. We're seeing that in the bigger cities, and that's what we're leaning to, is we're just going more in the dance music direction of the industrial music world, because we're a dance club, so it makes sense. But it's also, you're starting to see some traction in that zone, and I think that the dark wave that has been going through the scene the past couple of years has been waning, and there's parts of it that are still strong, but it's for the most part, unless you've established yourself in that 2000, 2001, or 2022, 2020 zone, that it's going to get hard. It's going to be hard for you to gain traction in the community now just because there's so much going on that people kind of, if you're into that style, you already know what you like. And it's, I don't want to say everything's already been done, but it feels like a lot of the ground in that those honors has been covered. And I'm starting to see some people moving away from that and more into the electronic dance stuff is I think where that's where our interests are, and that's where I think that you're starting to see some people make some moves in that direction.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. Just I do not have the experience you do, but just me personally, when I've been DJing recently, the club hits and stuff that gets people on the dance floor, gets people moving, tends to kind of sell the crowd a little bit easier.
Not only that, but I'm also noticing that newer people are grasping onto the styles a little bit more. People posting about it in their on their social media and on. I can follow a lot of our patrons' Spotify playlists, and you start to see trends in that angle as well. It's
Yeah, gotcha. And I do agree with you about darkwave. It's like a genre that I feel has become saturated very quickly, and the distinct acts have risen to the top already and come out.
That's the perfect way to put it. I don't think it's going away anytime soon, but I think that we're going to see a lot fewer people jumping into it.
Yeah, would agree, which is maybe good. I don't want to discourage somebody from making their dream project or pursuing their passion, but also it's definitely worth looking around at the landscape before you do, I feel.
I mean, yeah, if you're just looking at it from a your effort versus success ratio, 100%. It's hard to tell people if your heart is set on making a certain style of music not to do it because it's not popular, and that's always a challenge. But I think it's going to be difficult for people who jump into it now.
Gotcha.
I think that if you look towards more emerging or re-emerging styles, people would have more success becoming a newer artist.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. How do you feel, just to stay on the topic of music a little bit? We mentioned some legacy acts. I always feel so remiss using that term about some of these artists because I've loved them for so long and legacy act. But where do you see the newer artists, newer styles aligning with legacy acts that are, we still get to enjoy Suicide Commando, The Covenant, so on, and but
I kind of wish that more newer artists would jump on those styles because I think there's a space for them. And we're also not to point out the obvious, but those artists are going to be closer to the end of their careers than the beginning. And there's going to be a space for new things, grasping the people, the fans and the styles that those are into. It's just that I feel that that if those things are not focused on that, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Sorry.
that's all good.
Yeah, I just think that I don't know why I just like brain wiped.
No worries.
Sorry, could you repeat that question again?
Yeah, sure, no worries. I just was
Yeah.
sort of asking for your thoughts on comparing legacy acts alongside or playing them alongside newer styles, newer flavors. We both mentioned that EDM and dance music is where things are leaning a little bit, but do you still find a room in a set list for a Covenant, for a Suicide Commando, something like that?
I think that the actual classics will always have places because it's Suicide Commando and Covenant have great songs that are going to transcend eras. And the nice things about those two bands specifically is that you mentioned is they always had taken influences from outside of the scene, and so you're going to find a lot of, for example, early dance music influences in Covenant's music, which is why I think that they're so timeless and they resonated so well with their audience, and that's why they seem different because it's once you get to an artist that like, hey, I want to make a certain style of music, it starts to feel like a copy of a copy. Where if you're always bringing in influences from other stuff, it's going to feel a little bit more fresh.
Sure, gotcha. Just to change gears really quick back to the club night and everything, and I'm curious to hear your answer to this, but how has the scene changed over the last few years? And I feel like there's a couple of different omnipresent ways that you could tackle this, but just what are the things that stand out to you? Ooh, this is very different.
The biggest, actually, hold on, that's not the biggest. To it's nothing like it used to be is probably the easiest way to put it.
Sure.
Everything is different. Like the biggest sudden change was coming out of COVID because you had an entire generation of people who'd grown up only knowing about nightlife from online, and all of a sudden you put those people into real life events and experiences. It was a culture shock for the new people and the old people, and I think that the old people didn't really like it too much, and it was weird.
Sure. Do you think they've gotten over it?
No, they just mostly stay home now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine too. But are there any other market changes that you have noticed or think is worth it?
Everything else, it feels very always in a circle.
Sure.
Like all vinyl DJs are always gonna. That's always gonna be a thing that circles around every 5 or 10 years, and the music styles that are popular and fashion styles are always gonna. It feels like it's always just gonna be like it's just a circle that always comes around. So I wouldn't say that there's anything new and shocking, but it's just a lot of wow, I can't believe this is coming back.
Sure. Do you think it's harder or easier for a subculture like the one that we're in the age of social media?
It's probably leads to a bigger question. I honestly think that the subculture doesn't exist anymore. Just if you go back to, I don't know how old you are or when you started going out, but when I started going out in, I would say the mid 90s, you were forced to become part of the subculture if you wanted to know anything about the music or the community. Hey, I like this song. Do you want to hear more songs like this? Like, how are you going to find them? You go to the club, you read the magazine, you go to the club, even if you don't necessarily want to be a goth, you like, hey, I'm going to start wearing black because everyone else here wears black and I don't want to stand out. And you just slowly assimilate into it. And the internet has kind of made you don't have to learn about the music and the styles. You don't have to do that anymore, which unfortunately means you don't have to. The end result is you don't really assimilate into the subculture for better or worse. You see it a bit with the metal community and a bit with the biggest example of it's probably the Juggalos because that's still a pretty strong subculture. And you also see it a lot in the drum and bass community. They're very, once you become part of it, you become part of it. But it's the goth community does not feel like it. People are not going to the dressing up goth and going shopping and things along those nature like they used to.
Yeah. And I definitely just agree with you. And I haven't been going out for nearly as long as you, but it does feel at times that, previously in my life, there's a person in black. What bands do you like? And we can probably find a commonality within a couple, right? But now there's no guarantee.
Yeah, the example that I always cited was like if you were driving, you saw somebody walking down the street with colored hair or face piercings, you would probably know them. And it's not the case anymore.
Yeah, definitely not. Because that person might be into completely different shit and have no
Yeah,
idea what you're talking about.
pop music or yeah, even pop music leans into those aesthetics a lot now. So there's no way to predict what somebody's into just based off their aesthetics anymore.
Yeah, definitely agree. Is there a moment in the DOS Bunker history, just to bring up, talk again about it being the 30th anniversary and everything, is there a moment that you might remember or recall fondly of realizing, oh shit, this is a thing that matters to people?
I don't know if there's one where it clicked, but it was definitely for me the most impactful thing was when we did our 20th anniversary, did the 3 date thing, and it sold out fairly quickly. And I was surprised how many people were enthusiastic about it. That would have been 10 years ago. So and also the react this past weekend, I did not expect to have 1,500 people show up for Covenant, to be honest.
A pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you what drew you to this genre personally. Was there something in particular that just guided you towards it?
I went in, it was the year between middle school and high school. I went to stay with my cousins for a month during the summer. And it was just one of the things that they were listening to that seemed to really resonate. And I just remember listening to Showtime by Night Sir Ebb and Pretty Hate Machine, Nine Inch Nails, and was like, hey, yeah, this is cool. And they were like, oh, you like this? Here, check out this long list of other stuff. And one Columbia House, 8 CDs for $1 sign up thing later. That was
Yeah.
in.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had so many Columbia House CDs of just a million other things. Okay. So aside from the atmosphere and the music, what components do you think go into keeping people coming back? DOS Bunker, from what I understand, seems like it has a pretty tight knit core. But what are you hoping to gain from bringing in new people, and how do you get them in there?
The biggest thing, and it's going to sound completely obvious, but I think a lot of people gloss over this, is rather than the music or the aesthetics or anything like that, you just want to make sure that people have fun when they go out. And people go out to escape their normal life, to have a good time, to enjoy themselves. And so you try and do everything you can to foster that while not bothering them with day-to-day life things. So we try and make sure that happens. And I think that we're successful with that.
Gotcha. And after doing this for so long, how do you feel your relationship to music has changed?
It varies from time to time. There was a point when I was working in it a little more full time and I just stopped listening to music. And that made me want to stop, honestly, because I was like, I need to get more. And then I got excited about it again and I was excited. So I just try and get excited about, I like new stuff. So I'm always checking out new bands and new styles and jumping around different genres. And that's how I keep my excitement.
Gotcha.
I like to go see new bands play and I try and do that as often as possible.
Gotcha. Okay. Good answer. Shifting gears again, what do you hope people feel when they leave one of your nights? What do you want the user experience to be?
I was just talking about this with somebody the other day, and the biggest thing is you just want people to leave feeling good. So it was actually one of my DJs we were talking about it. We were talking about ending how you end the night like musically, and it's we just try and send people out with a good. You want people walking out feeling like they had a good time, and it's whatever you can do to foster that subconscious feeling of internal smile. I guess is the best way to put it.
Sure. Gotcha. Are there tracks in particular that you always play or that you're just like, oh, I can't wait to play this one?
It depends on the theme of the night and what my where I end up in my sorry where I end up in my music library that week and what a lot of times it's always just for future planning for whatever's coming next. And so it's hey, I'm gonna play something that's from an artist that we have a thing coming up and that might even be a year and a half from now. I'm always trying to plant those seeds. So I wouldn't say there's anything that I just personally like, hey, I want to play this every single time, but I like like I said, the storytelling aspect that all this includes.
Okay. So that's really where you get your kicks is just crafting that every time.
Yeah, I like the narrative and being involved in it.
Gotcha. Okay. Tell me a little bit before I hit you with the last question of the show. Just tell me a little bit about some of the things that are coming up the rest of this year for Das Bunker and for yourself.
For Dust Bunker, we have a lot of we're just spoke for our 30th anniversary. We just the focus is on it sounds like dumb and cliche, but we're focusing on the history, just trying to do we're working with things that we've worked with in the past we want to re-highlight or stuff along those lines. It's sometimes it feels like nostalgia sellout, but we're really just trying to establish what our legacy is for a new audience and show people what we've been and what we intend to be in the future. And so, on the personal side, it's mainly just dealing with this has been a lot of what I have going on.
Gotcha. Okay. And is that a good thing?
It will be, and when it's done, I'm looking forward to a long break.
Yeah, I'm sure. It seems like a lot of work. I was looking at the Das Bunker website earlier and lots of things planned and coming up, lots of
There's
great
so
shows.
much. There is so much. And it's weird because that's the stuff. One side of me is like, hey, I have to promote these. I think there's 8 or 9 things on our website right now. And I'm also putting together 3 separate big events like that are not announced yet. And so it's a lot of just, hey, it's a lot of shifting gears all the time. Like, I'm working on 3 separate flyer designs that are all in different art styles with 3 different designers. And while also taking out advertisements for all the stuff we have coming out, it's like I feel a responsibility to everything to make sure that every artist that chooses to engage with us is presented in the best light and to the best audience that they can achieve. And so that's a lot of what I spend my time on.
Gotcha. And real quick, great answer. But do you have any sort of quick, off the cuff crash course tips for people who are maybe trying to put together flyers?
I personally watch a lot of videos and read a lot of stuff about art trends, both what's currently trend broadcasting or past styles that were maybe not that were popular at other times and that might fit our aesthetic. And so it's always a mix of hey, what's coming up next and what can we back onto that was interesting. I'll make a saved file of things that I think are interesting and then go through my list of designers that we work with and try and match the idea that I have with the person whose skill set I think can execute it the best and I usually let them do their thing. And that's I like to outsource to people who have skills. It's just a lot of, hey, you do this. This is your job. You're good at this. You went to school for this. A good graphic designer is a worthy investment, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Okay. Noted. I don't want to keep you too long. I just want to keep this kind of short and sweet. So I'll go ahead and hit you with the last question of the show, which is just what is something you have been enjoying recently? And your answer can be anything, a book, a movie, a TV show, your dog, just what's something you're jazzed about when you get up.
Lately, I've been really into 90s UK dance music. So, like, really diving back into Underworld and Prodigy
Hell
and
yeah.
Chemical Brothers and stuff like that. And just I feel like our world is that meme of there's so much pain in the world, but not in this room right now. And that's the feeling that music gives. And it's like what I listen to when I'm going for my walk in the morning and getting in the shower. And it makes the world feel like it's a little less terrible.
Okay. Good answer. I'm a big fan of Underworld as well. Great choice.
Underworld Boiler Room from last year was the best thing of last year.
Yeah, wonderful to hear more Underworld out in the wild. I actually heard Underworld on a commercial the other day, and it made me feel A, very dated, and B, just like my heart died a little bit because it was like a cologne or perfume commercial for Versace or Armani or something like that.
That's hilarious.
And it was like, Underworld, how far we've come.
But also, they're still doing cool stuff now, but they're also getting their respects, I think. That collab with Brutalismus 3000 was phenomenal. And they did the thing with, was it Fred again? And it was, that's really great. And it's hopefully going to bring a little more attention to, stuff that I think just makes people feel good.
Yeah, agree. I always answer the question myself. Just real quick, I've been enjoying music again. I've got a DJ gig coming up tomorrow night playing before Holy Water plays. And putting music together, putting songs together, there's a fantastic, speaking of Underworld, the hardstyle artist Zaytox does a wonderful updated version of Born Slippy, or I think.
Can you send that to me?
Yes, I absolutely will. And just hardstyle and some of these newer genres.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It's so good and feels like such a natural side progression to my love of industrial. I'm like, oh, this is also crazy hard and fuzzy, and it feels easy to love.
It's just the energy is great and the audiences are so much fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, agree. So big fan of that. Big fan of just music in general lately. But okay, well, that is it, John.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll let you know when this comes out.
Great, thank you.
All right, have a good one. Cheers.
Void Signal enter courtesy of Processor. Visit processor2.bandcamp.com for more Processor. Void Signal is powered by people and ad-free. Visit voidsignal.net or patreon.com/voidsignal to support the Void Signal project. Stay safe, stay loud, and follow Void Signal on the socials.